All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. Let's come back with another lesson. Going into World War III, basically the war with the United States and Iran, basically is going to escalate. But, I just Googled latest poll on war in Iran. And it says a July 2026 CBS News poll shows the public support for the war in Iran is low, with 63% stating the conflict is going badly and more than 2/3 believing the administration should end the war now. 2/3, man. But it says public sentiment and outlook. Conflict duration, 79% expect U.S. military involvement to continue for an extended period of months or years. Expectations, 76% say the war has been harder than the Trump administration anticipated. And yeah, they thought it was going to be something quick. Like they went in Venezuela one day, couple hours, took it over, and it was a wrap. This has been going on since February, I think it said. So, this is an ongoing conflict, like I said, and eventually it's going to lead to World War III, man. So the polling, people's opinions, none of it matters, man. The ultimate outcome is going to be World War III. So it says emotional response, 58% feel uncertain and 57% feel frustrated regarding the ongoing conflict. How do the men of GMS feel? We feel excited. We feel grateful. Why? Because this is a part of prophecy, man, which is going to lead to World War III. So that's our feeling about it. So you can see it says majority of Americans think Trump's Iran war will last months or even years, and it was 23 hours ago. Yeah, bad numbers for Trump on economy, Iran, and the latest. Yeah, and fuel is going up. Food prices going up. So it's all downhill for Babylon the Great, man. So let's go to the book of Joel, because it speaks of World War III. It's all prophecy, man. We had a scoffer come on the brother Anais, live at camp, going in, saying that GMS said, things were going to happen, but they hadn't came to pass yet. So, basically saying he got tired, But the thing about it, man, it's all about prophecy. The prophets of old are still waiting on the prophecy that they wrote about thousands of years ago. So, it's a waiting game, man, But that's why the Lord instructs you to be vigilant, be watchful, because now we're seeing these things come to pass, man. We're in the last days. So as we see, it says nations will be judged. So we'll start from the top. We're just going to kind of, maybe jump around within this chapter. Verse 1, book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," freeing us from this bondage, man. Freeing us from this bondage, bringing us back together, as is spoken of in the book of Amos, chapter 9, closing up the breaches, bringing the tribes back together, settling differences, and coming together for one common cause, and that's to worship Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So verse 2, it says, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh's judgment. That's what it goes into. It says, I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that's going into, we were scattered during the transatlantic slave trade, various captivities. As well as the land of our homeland, being trodden down, by those Gentiles over there, the small hats, as well as those other heathens over there, man. So the Lord is going to make all these nations pay for what they've done to the children of Israel. So, let's we'll jump down. All right, we'll go to verse 9. We'll start at verse 9. It says, proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. So the Lord is putting the spirit upon these nations. Put the spirit of war upon these nations. As we see, man, you still got Russia and Ukraine going on. You have many other wars going on that are not in the mainstream media, as well as the casualties being brought forth through this U.S.-Iran war, man. It's like 600 troops have been injured. 18 have died, up until this day, and that's just the numbers they're putting out. But it's going to be a whole lot more casualties, man. So verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares and the sword, your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. So you're just basically dropping your working utensils, man, and trading them over for swords, guns, weapons, preparing for war. Let the weak say I'm strong, the other nations that have been afraid of Babylon the Great in the past, are now coming up, with great courage against this country, man, So it's all going to escalate. It's definitely going to escalate, and we're going to see it happen. So let's go. Let's see the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And verse 14 says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. And then this is speaking of World War II, going into World War III. So the second woe is past. World War I is done. World War II is done. And behold, the third woe come quickly. So the third World War is coming quickly. And we see it. We see it happening right before our eyes. So, it's time to, hearken and listen to the men of the Lord, man, because time is short. Verse 11, it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord is going to utterly destroy these other nations, man. The ones that come in the valley of Jehoshaphat for war. They ain't going to make it out. Anybody that's in that area, during that time is going to be pretty much disintegrated, by the chariots. And a lot of them going to take each other out, until the Lord comes, man. You can go to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and read about it, what's going to happen when the Lord come back. These other nations are going to join and fight against the Lord and the angels, man. But ultimately, they're going to lose, you know. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. Matter of fact, see. Let's see. We can go right here. It says, we'll jump to verse 19. It says, Egypt shall be a desolation. And when you say desolation, let's see, desolation. Oh, Slovakia. Desolation. Devastation. Figuratively, astonishment, you know, and all the other nations are going to be astonished when Babylon the Great is destroyed, you know, and we liken Babylon the Great, or the Lord likens Babylon the Great, aka America, to Egypt, because it's the house of bondage, you know, it's the house of slavery, desolate, waste, devastation, waste, desolation. Let me see. If I'm not, I know Apostle Hall was speaking on, you know, desolation or something. I forgot what he said, what the particular word was. I had to go back and look, but he says it means 10 parts. Man, I'm not sure if it was speaking of the destruction, you know, the coming destruction. I can't remember if it was desolation or what particular word it was. I had to go back and look at the lesson, but he said it meant 10th part. But, you know, this is the definition for desolation. Desolation means complete emptiness, ruin, or deep sadness, you know. Basically, America, Babylon the Great is going to be utterly destroyed, man, you know. So, let's see. It says Egypt shall be a desolation. This is speaking of America. Let's see, because you know you liken Egypt to slavery. So let's go, and we know, you know, the children of Israel have been in bondage here for well over 400 years. So this is the book of Exodus chapter 20, and we'll go to verse 2. It says, I am the Lord Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, you know. So this couldn't be talking about, you know, the first Exodus, for the simple fact, you know, this is going into an end time prophecy of destruction. So it says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land, you know. And verse 20 says, but Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem for generation to generation. You know, because once the Lord established the kingdom of heaven, man, the rulership is going to be ours forever, man. You know, it's hard to even fathom forever. Eternity, it's hard to even fathom that, you know, being in this flesh. But, you know, that's what's going to happen, man. You know, this was just a quick lesson, you know. So basically people's opinions, polls, none of that stuff matters, man. Ultimately, World War III is going down and America is going to be destroyed.